Well, hello and welcome back to A320 Flight Sim. In today's video, we're going to do another viewer request. We're going to be flying the river approach into Reagan National in Washington, D.C. This is an approach with multiple twists and turns that follows the Potomac River from the north and into runway 19 at Reagan National. It takes us directly past some of the most iconic views of Washington, D.C. However, it requires that we keep a very strict flight path, both vertically and horizontally, in order to stay out of restricted airspace. In addition, the approach is flown very slow, with an entry of only 180 knots for the RNAV Zulu approach we will fly today. And the final turn comes at around 500 feet above ground level and requires you to quickly pick up the runway visually and make sure you're lined up with the center line and on the glide slope. With all that in mind, let's jump into our United Airlines A320 as we descend towards our first waypoint on the RNAV Zulu 19 approach into Reagan National Airport. All right, so we are on our descent down towards our first waypoint. Let's take a look at our chart here. You can see here that our first waypoint is going to be that Derrick waypoint. We need to be at 2,700 feet, and the big thing is we need to be below 180 knots. So like I was telling you earlier, that is a little bit unusual for an entry point into an approach. Usually we're looking at 220, 210, something like that. 180 is a little slow, but not a big deal. We'll get slowed down, and we'll get down to 2,700 feet, and then we're going to start following this path, making sure we're hitting our waypoints. It's an RNAV approach, so the plane's going to do most of the flying for us, and you'll see all these twists and turns. We'll look at some views of Washington, D.C., and then as we get closer there over Roosevelt Island, we're going to make that hard right turn and get lined up for runway 19, and that's where we're going to take control and see what we can do with this airplane and get it on the ground. So enjoy here. Okay, so I'm going to flip over here to my Navigraph chart. So Navigraph charts are a fantastic addition to Microsoft Flight Sim. I use this on all my flights, and what it is it is the actual charts that I was showing you earlier, but now it's superimposed over a map, and it also has that little pink triangle there that is my airplane, and it's showing it in real time as this is happening. So you can see I just passed that Derrick waypoint, and if you look down here at the bottom of the screen, you can see some information. We're at that 180 knots of indicated airspeed, which is right where we need to be. And we're just under 2,600 feet above sea level, so we're doing great. We're on the flight path that we need to be on, and we're approaching that next waypoint. So we're now following the river path. We're going to flip back. We can see what we're seeing from the air. I'll come back to the chart here every once in a while just to kind of show you where we're at. So you can see the aircraft starting to make a few little adjustments here and there as it follows the Potomac River. And we start to make a little bit more of a left-hand turn. You can see, start to see some of Washington, D.C. come into view off the left side of the airplane here. And so we'll just keep following the river here, changing some views around, get a few different views of the river, the bridges. There's a lot of bridges across Potomac down here. We'll flip back to our chart for a second. You can see where we're at. All right, and then we're back here in the plane again, and we're just going to continue this long, kind of slow left turn, and then we'll go ahead and make another turn back to the right, and heading back towards Reagan National. So now, again, starting to see some of these cool views into sight as we get closer and closer to DC. Off to the left-hand side of the aircraft now, we're starting to see some very famous things as we drop our gear. You can see the airfield up there ahead to our right. You see the Lincoln Memorial right here, off to right below the airplane. The National Mall going off to the left there. There's Capitol building off in the distance, and the Washington Monument there as well. And we'll take a view out the window here. On the right is Arlington, and then off the left here, there's the Lincoln Memorial again. The pool, the National Mall. You can see a little bit of the White House there off in the distance, off the tip of the wing, and then you'll see the Washington Monument come into view again. Down on the bottom left, very briefly, you can see the MLK Memorial. Now we're taking that big right-hand turn I was telling you about. We're going to go over several different bridges here, big main bridges that cross between Virginia and Washington, D.C. And now we have to start picking up the airfield. So as we come around this corner and we straighten out, now we can see runway 19 out in front of us. We're a little bit high. We're going to drop down, make sure we get our PAPI lights where they want them to be, get lined up straight, get as close to that center line as we can. Nice view from the end of the runway here. Right on center. And we hit right around the last marks. Would have liked to have been a little bit closer, but actually pretty good there. I'm pretty happy with that landing. Come down nice and smooth in our Airbus A320. Get on the brakes, deploy those spoilers. And we will come to a stop here near the end of the runway. There's a lot of crossing runways here in Reagan. And then we will start our taxi towards the gate. Okay, well, we'll get our United Airlines A320 taxiing up towards the terminal. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you again for your support of A320 Flight Sim. As always, if you can hit those like and subscribe buttons, it would be greatly appreciated. Also, if there's anyone you think might be interested and enjoy these Flight Sim videos, make sure to share my channel with them. And just like this video, if you have a suggestion for something interesting or challenging, a takeoff, a landing, or if there's a highlight video that you'd like to see of a particular flight, make sure to leave me a comment below and I'll make that happen for you. So, until next time, thanks again for joining me here on A320 Flight Sim, and have a great day.